Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 25. Can't believe it's 25 already. Today we got a jam-packed episode. Hopefully it's not too long. But some of the topics we want to cover is NFL playoffs. Of course, we had the championship games. We will talk about who won and probably our predictions on the Super Bowl. I think, or we're gonna save that to next week.
We'll save the Super Bowl preview for next week.
Fair enough.
Since there's nothing this week.
Our boy Antonio Brown's back in the news.
Oh boy.
He's been arrested and weekend. This is gonna be a 30 for 30 someday.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
And speaking of arrested, we're going to talk about the Aaron Hernandez documentary or docu-series that was on Netflix,
which was pretty good, but we will get into that shortly.
Star Wars fans are they concerned about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series? Is the worry warranted? We will give our thoughts on UFC 246. Conor McGregor is back, and we'll talk about his fight and the rest of the card. Bellator has a show coming up. We will preview that. Derek Jeter and Larry Walker were in the Hall of Fame, and there is some controversy you might have heard around Derek Jeter getting in. And this Sunday, actually tomorrow, if you're listening on Saturday when this comes up, is the ever popular pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, WWE Royal Rumble. We'll give our thoughts on who wins in the undercard.
And while we are on that topic, we are planning on doing a Royal Rumble reaction show. So make sure that you guys tune in for that. We will be planning on going live as soon as the show goes off the air for that.
And as always, since we don't do the live reaction shows right now for AEW and NXT, we will cover AEW and NXT, and of course, as always, the funny story of the week. But first, let's go back to our main topic we mentioned first, is we had the conference championships in the NFL. First game we're going to talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Tennessee Titans 35-24. Patrick Mahomes still looks like an MVP candidate.
I mean, like, it's
still
just
looking good.
You know, when this guy's healthy, when he has protection, when his receivers are catching his passes, like, there is no better quarterback in this game. Just his arm, like, just how effortless that he just throws a 60 or 70 yard pass, like that freaking scramble and 60-yard bomb to Sammy Watkins, which was the eventual clincher there. I mean, like, you can't game plan for that. But speaking of that, like, you gotta really wonder what the heck that the Tennessee Titans were actually playing. Like, Matt, I mean, like, I'm no, like, genius or anything, but I think
me either.
But I think rushing 3 and dropping 8 against the best quarterback in the NFL
and one of the best tight ends.
It just does not make any sense to me. Like especially too with that Kansas City O-line, they have been really inconsistent for a lot of this season. So you would think that they would, want to send a little bit more pressure towards his way. I mean, you aren't going to completely stop. You're not going to completely stop Patrick Mahomes, but you want to try and make it a little bit tough for him. But that clearly did not happen. But I will say though, first half, Tennessee played really well. Derrick Henry was going really well, but eventually
the wheels came off.
The wheels came off. The Kansas City Chiefs finally got some stops, and they forced the Tennessee Titans to make Ryan Tannehill try to make some throws, and clearly he could not do that. Like he had to actually, form to try form some drives, and the problem was too, like on the drives that they did score on, they were like long drives, and you could just tell, like, if they could not do this for every drive, they were not going to keep up, because by that second quarter, Mahomes was just on fire at that point, and after that, it was essentially game over, because once Kansas City scored that final touchdown in the first half, you just felt, and that touchdown run, what kind of tackling was that? Like, it was a 30-yard run, and he probably dodged or
Mahomes.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Or went through 3 or 4 tackles, and you could just tell that took it. It was completely just deflating for the Tennessee Titans, and they pretty much did not look back from there. But man, this is Kansas City's first Super Bowl, I believe, since Super Bowl II, if I'm not mistaken.
4? Was it 4? 2 or 4? It's early on, very early, like 50 years.
I'm pretty sure that it was Super Bowl II, but nonetheless, a very impressive game, and Andy Reid is going to his second Super Bowl. If you recall, his last Super Bowl run was when he was the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, when they lost to the New England Patriots back in, I believe, in 2004, if memory serves.
Yeah, I think.
Yep.
No, 3 was Carolina, I think. Yeah, 4 was The second game on the NFC side, we have the San Francisco 49ers defeating the Green Bay Packers 37-20.
Jesus, this game, like this game was essentially over after the first quarter.
That score is very deceiving.
It's very deceiving, because it was 27-0 at halftime.
What was I doing? I think I fell asleep during this game, and I woke up, and it was like 20. It was like 20-something to 20-something nothing. It was like unbelievably bad for Green Bay.
Well, and if you recall, Matt, I kind of called this on the podcast last week. I was like, I would not be surprised if this ended up in a blowout, because this is just a really bad matchup for the Green Bay Packers.
I had no confidence in Green Bay at all.
I didn't either. I mean, people forgot to, when the Packers took that horrible loss, like that was back on week 12. So that wasn't too long ago. And on top of that, I believe that San Francisco had 2 or 3 stars on defense out for that game. They didn't have their starting fullback. I believe that they didn't have Tevin Coleman, although he went out in this game, but it just did not matter. They could not stop the run. The San Francisco 49ers ran for almost 300 yards. Almost 300 yards in the NFC Championship game. Jimmy G threw 8 passes for 77 yards. George Kittle had 1 catch for, I think, 15 yards or something. It was, I was just in amazement at just how badly that they were gashing that Packers defense. They were getting 5, 6, 7 yards on first down. It seemed on every possession. And they scored their first touchdown on a 30-yard draw play, which was designed perfectly. But but you gotta really tip your hat to San Francisco's head coach Kyle Shanahan. He's the best play caller in football, and he proved it again. And for the Packers, you gotta kind of wonder how much longer is this window going to be open for Aaron Rodgers. People forget he's 35 now. He's only a year or 2 younger than Big Ben, and we saw Eli retired officially today. So it's he's not the same quarterback who can just carry a team on his back like he did earlier in this decade. he's going to need some help. Like you can clearly tell he does not have any confidence in his receivers outside of Devontae Adams. And obviously Jimmy Graham has been pretty disappointing too. But that defense, I mean, Matt, like they were terrible. I mean, like just
yep.
I mean, I've never seen a defensive performance that bad, like in a very, very long time. Like giving up almost 300 yards is just mind blowing. And this sets up the Super Bowl for next week between the 49ers and the Chiefs. And as we said at the start of this, we will give our preview and prediction for that on next week's podcast.
Sticking with the football theme, but very different and drastic. Antonio Brown was arrested on burglary and battery charges. He's accused of throwing a rock at the driver of a moving truck and then forcing his way into the driver's side of the main cabin of the truck and striking the driver after a disagreement over payment. This was outside Brown's home. He has been released, according to ESPN, after posting a $110,000 bond. Now he is required to be monitored by GPS and has to release his passports and guns, go through drug and alcohol testing, and get a mental health evaluation,
which is the most important thing in all of this that need to happen here. Like, this is just sad. I mean, and like, Matt and I say this every single week that something new pops up, but like, I mean, if you don't think that he has some sort of like a mental illness or CTE or something, you are crazy. Like, his behavior is just getting more and more erratic. He's cussing out cops a week ago when his baby mama and kids, he's saying all of this language in front of his kids, no less. Yeah. Who by the way, his baby mama is now requesting sole custody of those kids of his now, which who can blame her? Like, that's the last person who you want your kids hanging around. And like, mind you too, his kids are still really young still. They're not like, 16, 18 or anything. They're still in grade school and stuff here. Like, and now it's just sad that it had to come to this. It had to come to him getting a felony charge to finally get some sort of a mental evaluation and go through a drug and alcohol screening, which it doesn't take a genius to find out, oh, hey, there's something definitely wrong with him,
Yeah. Also during the hearing, he was watching the proceedings in a different room via teleconference, and he was wearing a anti-suicide smock, which I'll probably have the picture up as we're talking about this. And this is they use this typically as a in high-profile cases or high-profile clients or what have you, or suspects. It says here he was pretty much quiet except when the judge was talking to him. Anything else from this article? I think one of his attorneys, I believe, says that he doesn't think there's any mental health issues with him.
Which I don't pay. Which, by the way, I don't pay any attention to.
Oh, wait. I think this was Brown's. Yeah.
Yeah. His lawyer.
Yeah, because I was making sure this name was his or not the prosecution. Yeah, his life is really just a reality show right now. He says, quote, "He is misinterpreted and misunderstood. He is not guilty of these charges. He did not commit a felony battery. In this case, when all the facts come out, you will see he will be vindicated and he will be found not guilty." And then just to go over like the charges, how they go. Again, felony burglary with battery, burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, and criminal mischief less than $1,000. Again, he turned himself in this past Thursday. He spent the night in the Broward County Jail. The felony with I totally forgot about this. I'm learning here. The felony with battery charge is the most serious, and it could be punishable up to life in prison. It says here, if he goes through it. And one of his attorneys said they overcharged him. Quote, "Once a thorough investigation is done, we believe the charges filed will be most likely be very different than they are right now." And that's always possible.
But man, like, just I mean that eyewitness account, man, is going to, like, I mean, if he did in fact punch him and on a moving vehicle, no less, like, I mean, if he's found guilty, he's definitely serving time, and if he is guilty, his football career is over. Like, hell,
nobody's going to want him back.
Hell, even out, like, he's going to miss probably at least next season. Which by then, if he comes back for the following season, he's going to be 33 at that point. Like, and like he would have been out of the league essentially for almost 3 years now. Like,
what team wants the drama?
No.
Because if he signs, that's all anybody's going to be talking about. Eyes are going to be on that team. Whatever. If a team is desperate for a wide receiver, that's all you're going to hear. It's like,
and until
what's that HBO series?
Put the Rock on it
the
Hard Knocks.
That's going to be like that craziness of just 24/7, basically cameras on you, and just does any team actually want that?
No, I mean, like, we kind of saw when he had that workout with the Saints, it was like they did their due diligence, and then he goes on Twitter afterwards and calls the whole thing a publicity stunt. Like, you know, he's nuts. You're not in the position to be commenting and saying that. Like, there's a reason why you are unemployed right now, because you are out of control. Like, it's just amazing to me that he doesn't understand that. But if you watch the Aaron Hernandez docuseries,
yes,
you can kind of figure out why he's acting like this, Matt. I sat and watched this last Saturday.
I binge watched, I think, all 3 episodes one late night.
I did too, and man, like, I mean, I had pretty much a good idea what this whole thing was going to be about, but the specific details really just blew you away.
There was a lot I totally forgot about or did not know. And I totally forgot it was technically not that long ago, even though it feels like it was. Well, it's been a couple years, so it's been a while. But
yeah, because I believe he committed suicide, in 2017, right?
Yes, I'm going to say so.
Yeah, so he committed suicide in 2017. I believe he was arrested, in
16?
No,
15?
No. I want to say it was like 14 or 15, somewhere around there. But like, it just, like, we really didn't know like how really messed up that his family life was.
Right.
Like after his father died, which I feel is where his downward spiral that's where everything started at, when his father died. And then his mom decides to sleep with Aaron's uncle.
Or was it
cousin's
aunt, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But she decides to sleep with this person inside his own house, no less. So how do you think that's going to affect the guy who's already emotionally unstable? Not to mention, you can clearly tell he was not comfortable with expressing his sexuality. Like, that was a really big part of all this. Like he could not even throw a hint that he was a bisexual, and like it was a part of him that he could never really open up to because he knew from the way that his father viewed homosexuals it wasn't to be done, and it's a terrible thing to say, but that was how his family felt, and like between that and
a very old school mentality,
very old school, and with the concussions with football, which they said that he had the worst case of CTE out of anyone that they had done for the CTE research. Like it just it like I don't think it was the main cause of him being essentially
it didn't help,
but it was definitely a contributing factor.
It's not good when when your brain is not fully right, if you will. Like the little things, like people, we don't, like you and me, like we take how we act for granted. Like I assume we're both normal, right?
Right.
If you will. Like you played football a little bit, but you weren't.
No,
you weren't.
I was.
It was just. It wasn't really crazy.
No, but and like back then, like no one really looked into that.
Did you ever get hit really, really bad?
I never sustained any sort of like head trauma or anything.
Okay.
No. Well, like I sustained minor injuries and stuff, but
nothing of.
But
okay.
I've had many teammates who sustained concussions, and like you just saw the look on their face, and it was terrified. And like honestly, that was partially why I quit after my second year. And you can see why so many people are quitting football earlier, and a lot of people are going to see this documentary, and you're even seeing it now. Luke Kuechly, all-star running back, all-star linebacker for the Carolina Panthers. He retired, and he's only, I believe, 28. So there's a lot more NFL players who are more conscious about this stuff, and after seeing this, like, how can you not?
Yeah. So it's normal, but like you see how they show the difference in the brain, or if you ever see a picture of a regular brain and a brain suffering suffered from CTE.
Holy hell!
It's so different. It's so drastic that like it obviously has to have an effect. Like same thing. Like, well, I don't want to say the same thing. I was going to say with, I don't know, alcohol or drugs or what have you. Like, okay, not that this exact effect, but you get drunk, your inhibitions go away. Like, even if you did it at a young age. Like, I read this book, for when I was getting class for certification for being a teacher. There was this book about how like brains develop, and it was a very interesting read. Like how the brain is still developing even in your 20s, and if you do all these, like high schoolers, if you do drugs or drink a lot, you're ruining your brain later in life. And maybe if you're in high school at that time, you don't think anything of it, but it's still not developed, so that has an effect, and that you can't see. And that's the same thing in a way. Again, I'm not comparing the two, but CTE, nobody can assume, like nobody knows, like there's no, like, I don't want to say symptoms, but like but people really just expect that you're just crazy, you're just totally messed up. But there's so much stuff that, like,
Well,
we
like,
don't know
well,
it happens neurologically.
And it's still like we're still so like early in this recognition of like
research,
head trauma and like research like we don't even know what the true symptoms are outside of erratic behavior, but that can be contributed to like many other things too. So it's just like we just don't know right
What
now.
was the crap? What was the movie with Will Smith that was filmed here about CTE?
Concussion. I believe.
Was it this concussion?
I believe
Yeah.
it was called Concussion.
With Mike Webster and all that.
Yep.
Like that really
Yep.
opened. I mean, it wasn't, I don't think, a blockbuster still, but regardless, it opened the eyes, and they mentioned this in the documentary. They mentioned the movie, I believe, Mike Webster, briefly, but that really opened the eyes, and it was kind of in the news, and you kind of just hear people talking about it more.
Well, yeah, they talked
now
about
it's
him.
mainstream now.
Well, they talked about him, and they also highlighted Junior Seau too. When he committed suicide, and he shot himself in the heart just so that they could donate his brain for research, which is what they did. But definitely go out of your way to see this. But man, like it's really hard hitting stuff, to say the least. And I mean, like, I definitely know a lot more than I did I'm coming out of that. But also another thing, his fiance, how loyal was she to him?
Jeez.
She essentially betrayed her whole family, like, and like, I mean, like, her sister, like, they have to hate each other now. Like how could you not? Like, I mean, like, it just
that whole family situation was just, I don't want to say something you see on a Springer, but it was just nothing good can come out of that situation. That whole family.
Well,
that's sad.
Well, into Odin Lloyd's mother, like, she was a very strong woman. I mean, like, to even give a thought of forgiving Aaron took. I mean, like, I don't know too many people who would be able to do that. Like, it's
to almost not be at peace, but to be like trying to
move on.
Move on, but be like, I'm assuming, obviously, I'm assuming Christian.
Oh yeah, mainly she was very
religion.
She was very very religious.
Yeah, just trying to move on and not hate and not, I don't want to say accept what happened, but I mean, whatever. I mean, nothing you can do can change the past.
Nope.
Unfortunately, but she moved. I mean, obviously grieving, like anybody obviously would, but just moving on and not staying with that hate for the rest of your life.
Right.
And it was just, and there was a lot of information, like how everything happened, even his past, even the basic drive-by, I think, in the street. I totally, if I didn't remember that, I didn't know about. Just a lot of stuff that was just interesting, and I almost wish there was more parts, because you kind of just want to watch more.
Yep.
It was just so well done.
Well, yeah, my coworker, who doesn't know a thing about football, she was like, "Oh, is like that it?" Like, like she wanted to see more. I was like, and I was just telling her, like, just about Aaron, like he was arguably one of the top 5 tight ends in football at the time when this happened.
And I totally forgot. Like, I don't keep up mostly with college football, like the star stuff. Like, I'm like out, but I totally forgot about he was on the Florida team with.
He was teammates. He was teammates with
Tebow, with the Pouncey brothers.
Hayden was on that team.
I totally forgot about that. What a lineup.
Marcus Gilbert too was also on that team.
What a solid team. But like, it's just, you look back, it's like, how did anybody know?
No one did. Like,
like the future would happen. Like that's just
No.
it's something to think of.
Yep.
Anything else we want to add on?
No, I think we
pretty much
essentially
said everything,
covered.
yeah.
So Matt, you wanted to give us a little bit of some Star Wars drama here.
Yeah. The Obi-Wan series that is scheduled to come out apparently is in hopefully is in some possible craziness, turmoil, whatever, I can't say. Anywho, so pretty much the story goes, again, we read on the internet that the script's being scrapped and being rewritten and being delayed, blah, 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 blah. But according to, and this is the wrap, and even the Hollywood Reporter here, I'll probably have them down below in the description, I believe Aaron McGregor addressed the drama with the series, telling the reporters, I believe the Hollywood Reporter said IGN was interviewing him. I have to look, but it's there. Said that despite the news, the production's been delayed, the show is happening as scheduled, and most of what is being reported is, quote, bull.
Well, yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Look,
I'll just say just one quote, and we get.
Go ahead,
and then the quote to continue from McGregor is, "We just pushed the shoot of the beginning. We just pushed the shoot to the beginning of next year. The scripts are really good. I saw 90% of the writing, and I really liked it. Yeah." And this was during a event promoting a new film, Birds of Prey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it's a little bit concerning to me, because, and someone brought this up too, like, well, because supposedly too, I'm not sure if you heard this, Matt, but you know that they were in developing, and they're also Disney Plus is developing a Lizzie McGuire show with obviously with Hillary Duff, and supposedly something similar happened to them as well, where this is also getting pushed back. So you gotta kind of wonder if like Disney is being a little bit more strict as far as a creative output is concerned. But I'm hoping that they get this thing resolved, because I know a lot of people really want to see this Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So I don't know who you believe. Like, I'm always, when it comes to Star Wars, like, I get notifications on my phone, like news things, and since I probably read a lot of it, it's like always Star Wars. It's always drama. This is like the most drama-filled franchise ever. There's always, it's either this movie did this is bad for this is great. It's like, okay, stop. It's too much. It's like, well, this fan theory did pop up. Stop.
It's between that and like Marvel are very similar.
Marvel's not even that bad.
Yeah, but yeah,
compared to Star Wars, it's like everything now. It's like everybody wants to be negative. It's like all negative. Like, Disney, we're gonna do. It's delayed. We're doing this. Then you read the comments. Well, blah, blah, like negative. Like, it's just toxic environment. So who knows if it's really as bad as it is.
Honestly, it probably isn't. And like, I'm gonna take Ewan McGregor at his word, and like in that they are just pushing back shooting until next year. And I would rather they have everything that is right and correct rather than them like rushing through all of this, and just there being just so much creative turmoil. So let's get this thing figured out. Hopefully, cooler heads prevail, and they put their egos aside and realize, hey, this is going to make us a lot of money. Like, check your egos at the freaking door. And I'm just praying that is what happens. But when it comes to Star Wars, as we have seen, crazy shit always happens. So
yeah. To continue with McGregor talking, a quote, he goes, all this bullshit about creative differences and all that stuff, none of it is true. We just pushed the dates. They want last episode 9 came out. Everyone had more time to read the stuff that had been written, and they felt they wanted to do more work on it. So they slid the shoot, so it's not nearly as dramatic as it sounds online. So, and then he added the series will start shooting in January. I think they wanted to keep the same release date, so it's not really going to affect the viewer in any way. It just simply gives them more time to write, make the scripts even better. So yeah, I mean, I think some stuff, I mean, it could have been blown out of proportion, but like, I think just people, it's always Star Wars. It's always negative, at least as of now. So I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. Like, there's still Marvel stuff coming out. There's stuff going to come out.
Yep.
And if not, there's plenty of stuff that's on there now. If you want to watch stuff, I like, again, not to go all Disney Plus, but there's still the world according to Jeff Goldblum that I enjoy very much. It's entertaining. I like watching that every Friday whenever I get to it. And then plus there's other stuff to freaking watch streaming wise. Like we just talked about the Hernandez documentary on Netflix. There's a ton of stuff out there. So like just because there's not a Star Wars thing coming out every week now, then my life is a wreck. There's too much crap out there to watch that I think I can survive. I'd rather it be better. Go through it. Take your time. Get a good show that lives up to The Mandalorian, because you know it's going to be compared to that. Oh my God. It's almost like comparison to video games. Because I keep up on that stuff. That like when games get delayed, people are like, oh, up in arms. But and stuff, you rather stuff get better so it's worth your money than rush out to meet a specific deadline. And another example, like that Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I think it came out or is coming out soon. Like when it came out first with the trailer, that Sonic looked terrible.
Oh, and it got shitted on badly.
So people complain online, and the movie studio heard it and fixed it, and it's way better now. So yeah, it is what it is. Like I rather it be delayed and be as good as it possibly can be, than just throwing it out there and it's crap. Yeah.
From one McGregor to another, Matt. So UFC 246 was last weekend, and Matt, holy hell, that casino on Saturday, I've been going to the Pittsburgh Rivers Casino for essentially since it opened. And I have never seen a crowd like that. Like,
no.
The amount of humanity who are here, like Pittsburgh has their sports book area,
yes,
and there is a like bar and stuff there. There was like 6 rows of people around the freaking sports book area, not just like inside the actual area, but there was that much of humanity. And like I got down there at 7 or 7:30.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a seat, so we like perched in some corner, and that was about as good as it was gonna get. But I mean, you really found out last weekend what star power really is, Matt. Like,
yep.
Like some people say, some people are stars. In combat sports, like some people threw out a like Nate Diaz, a George Masvidal, but then there's Connor.
Have nothing on him.
And like, you know how big he really is. When it was a report after the show, Matt, this did the equivalent of 2.5 pay-per-view buys for ESPN and the UFC.
I believe it.
Which it's just remarkable. But the fight itself, this was essentially what I expected. Maybe not as fast as I thought that it was going to be.
Can I make fun of myself for a second?
Sure.
I believe last week I said it was going to be slow in the beginning and be close. No, it was going to be close in the beginning. I was as wrong can be.
Yeah, like and you could see why the UFC matched up Cowboy with Conor. I mean, like, let's just say it how it is. Cowboy, he is completely washed at this point. Like, I mean, like, he's been notorious as a pretty slow starter. Has really struggled against southpaws. We all knew that, but his chin is essentially gone at this point. Like, Conor, like, staggered him with freaking shoulder strikes, like 3 shoulder strikes, busted up his freaking nose, no less. And then after that, just gave him a devastating head kick, and that fight was essentially over after some ground and pound there. But, you know, I mean, like when there's a Conor fight, all of the casuals come out of the freaking woodwork. Some were even saying that, oh, this was fixed, this is utter BS. Oh, like, how do you people feel spending all of that cash for this? I'm like, guys, it's a fight. Like, this isn't pro wrestling. Like, this stuff is not predetermined. I mean, like, I just my mind was like, I was laughing because there were really people complaining about this, making that a legit complaint. I'm like, it's a fight. This is what's going to happen. This isn't boxing. There are more ways to lose in MMA than there are in any other discipline of combat sports. Like, this should not be that hard to figure out. But as far as what's next for him, Matt, obviously this opens up a lot of possibilities for Conor. He could go against George Masvidal, which that is the fight that I want. But he could also go for the trilogy fight against Nate. Obviously, Dana, he wants that rematch against Khabib, which I have no desire to see that whatsoever. We already know the outcome of that. And, of course, Conor and his team, they essentially stated, oh, wait, Conor, he wasn't really training. He never took that fight seriously. He was essentially drunk a week. They have thrown out a ton of excuses. And I'm sure that for the second fight, it would be a little bit more competitive. But if you are Khabib, what do you really gain outside of a mega payday? And he has said on multiple occasions he doesn't care about the money. Like he's made a lot of the money in his career now. I mean, just from that Conor fight alone, he made a lot of money. So, I mean, it just, like, and I get what Dana is saying, but, like, that's going to be a tough sell to Khabib, who he sees from his standpoint that this fight really doesn't really benefit him outside of that mega paycheck. I mean, like I said, I hope that they do him versus George because Conor said he wants to fight sometime before the summer. And the problem with trying to book the fight against Khabib, Matt, is Khabib is fighting Tony in April in Brooklyn, and like a month after that, Khabib is a devoted Muslim, so like a month after that is a Ramadan, so he would be essentially out for the next 3 or like 4 months. So the earliest he could possibly come back would be in September. And I mean, like, I'm taking Conor at his word that he wants to fight before the summer comes, and I think that the only realistic option would be against Masvidal. Matt,
Yep.
do you have
no?
Okay, just to touch on
But I think you were gonna go here, but
mhm.
you know what I really didn't like is
that whole undercard.
not the whole thing, but I didn't like when everybody hugged, especially Holly Holm.
Yeah,
The hug match.
here we thought that the Royal Rumble was this weekend, but
Hug,
like
hug in the corner.
like of course, like her camp were like we're pretty pissed at the crowd and all, but I'm like,
You hugged.
they wouldn't be mad at you if you would have actually tried to actually fight. Like, I can understand if you're trying to actually grapple or to wrestle, but no, you just held her against the freaking fence for 3 rounds. So
You
like,
hugged.
yeah, they essentially hugged. Like, I don't want to hear any excuses.
I watched Sports Center more than on the next TV over than this match.
There were so many people who were pissed off with that. Like I can respect you if you're trying to consistently get better positions, trying to actually lock in a submission or strike or do something. But no, none of that happened.
I would have been okay if it was the 3rd round and then the first 2 rounds you
Right.
obviously were winning,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were just trying to stand your ground and
Right.
control. But this was 3 rounds of nothing.
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 Like, and God, that really irritated me. But essentially, the whole undercard in general was just really underwhelming. But I felt like everyone knew going into this, you were buying this card strictly for Conor. Everyone knew that. Like, this was essentially a fight night card outside of the Conor fight. Like, anything else on this card was garbage. But just a few other highlights. Macy Barber, who was on the prelims on ESPN, a very disappointing performance. But that also had to do with her tearing her ACL early in the fight, and that pretty much just
That would do it.
yeah, that would do it. So she's out for the next 8 or 9 months now. But outside of that, yeah, nothing else to really talk about there. So with that being said, we're going to move on to some Bellator talk. Matt, Chris Cyborg, her first fight for Bellator MMA. This is her first fight since leaving the UFC, where she will challenge for the 145 women's featherweight title against Julia Budd. Who is a current champion right now over in Bellator. Her only 2 losses, Matt, are against Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes. So a very impressive resume, to say the least. And from the research that I've done, this I don't think is going to be a walk in the park for Cyborg. It's going to be very interesting to see how Cyborg is going to react now. She had a very easy or a very seamless weight cut from what I could tell. I'm still going to pick Cyborg, but I do think that this is going to be a battle. Julia Budd is no slouch whatsoever, and I was watching Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson's podcast, and they were talking about this card, and basically that they said that the number one thing that is going to be the determining factor is does Julia Budd have the confidence within herself and the belief within herself to be able to beat a Chris Cyborg? Because from a striking standpoint, they believe that she's actually better than Chris Cyborg, which kind of blew me away. So I'm definitely going to be very interested to see how sharp is Cyborg and how confident that Julia Budd is here, Matt.
And when is this fight again?
This is on Saturday night. So basically
tonight. Okay.
Yeah. So tonight. Also on this card, we have a featherweight quarterfinal fight. So Matt, I'll just kind of explain this to you. So basically, Scott Coker, he does all sorts of tournaments and stuff. It's pretty much a good way for him to highlight specific guys and try and make a few stars here and there. I mean, it's very similar with pro wrestling and how New Japan and with NXT do with their tag teams and everything, but for this year, Darian Caldwell versus Adam Borks. This is going to be a very fun fight. Darian Caldwell, he's coming off a win, obviously from the first fight in the featherweight tournament. I believe he beat Henry Corrales. I believe I'll have to double check on that. Yeah, so he came off a win off of Henry Corrales, and with, I'm just doing some other research here, and with Adam Borks, he came off a win against One Archuleta. So yeah, and from what I have by some more research that I've done, basically the number one key in this fight is definitely going to be Darian Caldwell's casting. From his losses that we have seen, was like when a fighter just consistently puts pressure on him, he does have the tendency to fade a little bit. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Adam Borks can sustain that consistent pressure on him. I am going with Adam Borks here. I just think that he's just a little bit more. I just have a little bit more belief in him, and I believe that he will be able to sustain that pressure there as well. Also on this card, you have Henry Corrales versus One Archuleta. So this is basically I'm not sure if you would call this a consolation fight, but these two guys lost against the two guys who were fighting in the co-main event here. I'm very interested to see how this goes. Henry Corrales, he's also known for knocking out Aaron Pico pretty badly. So I don't have a real prediction on this here, so I'll just kind of move on here. Also, Sergio Pettis is making his Bellator debut. He signed there recently. He was lastly in the UFC. So we'll see how he does now that he's over in Bellator, and also Raymond Daniels, who's a big who was a big kickboxer. He's now is fighting his third MMA fight. And on the prelims, we have one interesting fight that I'm going to be paying attention to, and that is Aaron Pico, who has been falling on some hard times. He's been finished in his last two fights. His last fight was by a devastating flying knee against Adam Borks. So hopefully he can kind of get back on the winning ways. Hopefully with him being more established with over Alec Jackson's will get him back on the winning trail. So that was your Bellator MMA preview. And let's hope for some really good fights for that. All right. Okay, Matt, I believe we can move on. Do you want to talk about the Derek Jeter?
Yes. So real quick, Baseball Hall of Fame was announced, and Larry Walker and more notably Derek Jeter got in. And the big controversy is that Derek Jeter,
who in the hell did not vote for him?
I don't know.
Well, the one person who didn't vote for him.
I think it would have been more of a shame if he didn't get in, except instead of the one person who didn't vote. But it is kind of strange.
It was kind of funny.
When Larry Walker's just here, like, I'm in. I'm okay.
It was kind of funny in like Pittsburgh. Someone said it was wrong cook.
Yeah, apparently it's the wrong cook. Controversy. And then of course Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens don't get in.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not going to be until years. You need a whole, I think, refresh on generation of reporters.
I'm going to continue to say this. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, to me, the Baseball Hall of Fame is illegitimate without your best player, in the Hall of Fame. This man was a Hall of Famer before all of the steroid accusations, in my opinion, were even a thing. Because I believe by then he had like 400 home runs and 400 stolen bases at that point, which, I mean, like, there are a lot of people in the Hall of Fame with like 400 home runs, not to mention with his OPS and his batting average and everything. Like I cannot describe you the greatness of Barry Bonds, and people hated him, and that's fine. Like, we should not be judging people going into the Hall of Fame off of freaking morals. It should be what he's done on the field. Hell, I'll even say the same thing about Antonio Brown, and as much of a freaking clown that he has been, he's a Hall of Fame player. Like, it just, I will forever not understand why these writers just cannot just vote him in. And like, there are a lot of writers who voted him in. Did it say how close that he came to get in, or did they not? Or did they not?
I don't know. I mean, look at it in real quick. I don't know.
But as far as Clemens, I mean, like, him and Bonds are essentially in the same position. Same with Sammy Sosa. Same with McGuire and Rafael Palmeiro and all of those guys.
So Derek Jeter, this is on Baseball Reference, that Derek Jeter had 99.7% of the vote, one vote. Larry Walker got in at 76.6. He had 304 votes out of.
So he barely got in.
Yeah, and then in third was Curt Schilling with 70% of the vote. Roger Clemens, 61. Barry Bonds, 60.7.
Jesus.
I'm just reading these the Hall of Fame stats that I don't understand, but yeah,
like I just can't understand though the freaking logic though. Like, I mean, and Mariano Rivera, he's regarded as the greatest closer of all time, and like he is, and he got 100% of the vote. You can make the argument that Derek Jeter is one of the top 5 greatest shortstops of all time, and one of the greatest leaders of all time, and his numbers back it up. Like, not to mention, he is a 5-time World Series champion, yada yada yada. There's like a laundry list of numbers that you can write off there. So how he doesn't get 100% of this, I would love to know who that writer was in the. but I don't think that guy.
This is interesting. I don't know the thing. So each voting cycle, again, qualified members of the Baseball Writers Association, again, they name no more than 10 eligible players. To be enshrined, you must get 75% of the vote. Ballot. And then currently players are removed from the ballot if they're named on fewer than 5% of the ballots or have been on the ballot 15 times without election. Changed to 10 times prior to the 2015 election. So they have here the list. X means off the ballot for future elections. So that means people like Jason Giambi only have 1.5 off. Alfonso Soriano, 1.5% off. Let's see. Raul Ibanez, 0.3% off. Cliff Lee, 0.5 off. Adam Dunn, in his first year, had 1 vote, 0.3, done. And then people who had no votes: Jose Valverde, Josh Beckett, Carlos Pena, Heath Bell, Rafael Furcal, no votes. Those and you guys can see this again. This will be linked down below of the whole thing. Oh, Sammy Sosa had 55 votes. So there you go.
There we go. All right, it's time to get into some wrestling talk here, Matt.
Royal Rumble is, as depending on when you're listening to this, tomorrow. As on Sunday, this is one of my favorite events to watch every year. Before we get to the actual Royal Rumble, let's quickly go over the undercard, which is an undercard. It's almost like the UFC. We have Sheamus versus it's Chad Gable. Damn it, Shorty G. I still think Sheamus wins. I don't know.
Yeah, and especially too, he's just coming back.
Yeah,
and it seems like they're really giving him a push here.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
Then we have Andrade versus the returning Humberto Carrillo. That's just for the title, or is this just?
I
fight?
believe so. I don't get Humberto. I just like he's a really good in-ring guy, but.
I get him, but they did him no service by how they booked him.
No, it's just like I'll be completely honest. I don't watch Raw or SmackDown. I keep up with it, but
I do.
But
listen, I haven't watched SmackDown in a while. It's just been when it gets to the weekend, I just have no time.
Well, and people who I
record
respect,
it and I still don't.
Yeah, from the people who I respect and all, they've said SmackDown is way worse than Monday Night Raw right now.
I don't believe it.
Baron Corbin is consistently in the main event, so I kind of do. But anyways,
I'll
move on that.
I'll keep Andrade. I'll keep Andrade.
Yeah.
Then we got Roman versus King Corbin. I believe, after all, finally the face.
Food break for that there, man.
The food break. I believe Roman wins, gets his finally revenge on the King Corbin dynasty. Then the match I'm most looking forward to is The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship in a strap match.
Should be good. This should be pretty good actually. Because Matt, if you recall when they had their match at the Rumble back here in Pittsburgh,
yep.
That was a really good match. Arguably, some say was probably Wyatt's best match
That was
ever.
very good.
It's really
Excellent.
close. Like it's definitely one of his top 3.
The interesting thing here was the strap match stipulation. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it can get to that level because of the stipulation and his character. I just don't think it, again, booked right, it could be good. I'm more intrigued by this and how they do it. You don't take the title off of Bray Wyatt, he retains.
Yeah. Like I mean, it doesn't really make any sense for Bryan to win back the title here,
It's not right.
and like when you do eventually have this man lose the title, it needs to be to someone who's going to benefit from it. Okay, so if Bryan wins, like, it's not going to really help him, and it's only going to really
I think
hurt.
Daniel Bryan's at the status that he doesn't need the title.
No,
he's good.
Him and AJ are now essentially at that point now where a title.
I think even Roman.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Unless they need a break. Like they can win it, but we're at that time. Maybe get more people up.
They need to get new people in that main event scene, and that is the one thing that has been extremely consistent. It's the same people in the main event every single time, which and that's why overall interest in the main product is so low. It's just okay. It's Seth. It's Roman. It's AJ. It's Daniel Bryan. It's The Fiend. We need some more fresh blood there.
But if in a slightly be devil's advocate on that, I think it's okay if they're in the not main event, but high profile match.
Right.
If it's not the title, it's something like, for example, in a way, AJ versus Randy Orton. It's not for the title, but it is a storyline. I think it's a
upper
good
mid card match.
Mid card.
Yeah.
With that, to me, it's solid.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to me so far. Good storytelling. It's a solid feud between two established veterans that doesn't need the title.
It is. It's just I find myself really hard giving any single about this whatsoever.
What that feud or
yeah well because it's still kind of fresh because didn't they face each other last WrestleMania too? So I mean it's still pretty fresh in my mind right now. So
I forget. I forget a lot.
So I'm not particularly excited for that, but
to me it's still good. If it was. To me, it's better than the Roman King Corbin stuff.
Absolutely.
Because I know those two work and it's entertaining.
And at some point, this company's going to have to realize Corbin is not a main event guy. I don't want to hear he generates heat. Blah blah blah. Look, you compare him to a freaking MJF. Listen to both of those reactions, and you tell me who's a more true heel. I'll just kind of just end it on that. Matt, let's move on here.
Yeah, don't get me started. We get into women's championship matches for SmackDown. We have Bayley defending her title against Lacey Evans.
Who cares? Not me. I'm probably sure you probably disagree, but I just Bayley, even though she's heel, I don't know, she feels so stale to me.
That's why I'm picking Lacey Evans. Change it up.
I mean, sure, I know it's weird seeing Lacey as a babyface. I'm just her character, and I get they are diving more into her a military background, so I guess that is a good thing, but. Man, a lot of her character is really I feel it's more geared towards being a heel.
It can be. They can switch it back.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I like this match in terms of it's different and it's not the same women. It's somebody different,
which is the big problem with the main roster. Is they have shoved the 4 horsewomen just so hard, man. It just
to me, it's different. And I know we had Lacey lose to Becky Lynch when she first came up, but to me, just a different character. It's something different, and they're on a separate show.
Well, and on top of it, that was right after WrestleMania. You aren't going to have freaking Lacey Evans beat Becky Lynch after she just beat Ronda Rousey.
No, but if you were going to, you should have. There was a way to do it if you're going to build her up, and it didn't do her any service.
Yeah, well, and the problem was too, they pushed her way too hard way too soon. Like if they would have had her, like had 1 or 2 feuds before that, and there was some actual progression to that title match, I would have been more open to it. It would have made more sense.
Fair.
So
I'm picking Lacey.
Yeah.
Just something different.
I'm sticking with a Bayley.
I just feel like let's get a reset. We have the man Becky Lynch versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship.
This should be really good. This is
hopefully.
I'm kind of like torn, because although they are playing off of the storyline from last year when Asuka beat Becky, and the whole storyline has been, Becky cannot beat Asuka, and the difference that I've been seeing that is like probably for the first time Becky is showing some sort of vulnerability, some not completely confident, which that's good. That's something that we don't typically see from her too often. I still think that they're definitely putting Becky over here because
I think the faces win.
Yeah,
just based on stories, I think both faces win.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be opposed to Asuka winning or shocked. That's just this, to me, just to switch it up, because it's just been Becky, and not necessarily a bad thing because of her character.
I'm only going to disagree because with the winner of the Women's Rumble, I think it would be a bigger moment, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, and again, yes, I does disagree for that fact. And again, it all depends,
and only for that alone.
It all what am I trying to say? Depends on who's winning that Rumble match. Right. Which, let's get into the women's match right now before we get finished with the men.
Okay, so for the women, to me, there is only one person who should win this match, and the only one contender, and that's Shayna Baszler. I swear, if freaking Charlotte wins this match, I'm cutting the biggest heel promo on this reaction show when we go live.
Me too.
You will be feeling my wrath in that reaction show there.
I don't think she does, because I feel like it's too obvious that they're making her win that, and she's going to win. I think it's too obvious. Let me put this question out there. Does Ronda Rousey appear?
You can't rule it out.
I cannot. Yeah, right. I can't.
Can't
it's
rule
possible.
it out. And honestly, I think
because it'd be a good time to that'd be a good time to return.
I would be fine with it. Although, I don't think it's what the women's division needs right now. They desperately need to get some new stars within that division, and definitely putting Shayna in that category makes to me way too much sense. And there is story there. Because if you recall from Survivor Series and how that ended there, it's there. So to me, this is so easy to book. I just pray that they just don't overthink this. Just give it to freaking Shayna.
I agree. I can see a possible, maybe a time if Ronda comes out, if it's like Ronda, quote unquote, teaming up with Shayna against Charlotte. If Charlotte's in the ring, and somebody, I don't know, Sasha or something that moment that the crowd just loses their mind, because you just know that the whole history. But I do agree. I kind of want Shayna Baszler, because that we like you just mentioned. I'm not going to really repeat it. And we talked about it before. That whole history, the Survivor Series, everybody's it writes itself.
Yeah, and
we can lead it up to it. Yeah. It's good storytelling.
Well, and two, they haven't.
It's there.
They haven't built up anybody else. There's literally no other options if you look on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. It's Shayna. Except for Shayna. Like, she's the only person.
We don't know a lot of people who are going to be in it, but obviously you can pull from NXT because technically it's the third brand.
Yeah.
So there's nothing.
We're going to be seeing a lot of NXT women there. Yeah.
Maybe throw in a legend or so in there, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think Shayna has to win. I believe I'm going to make the prediction that there's going to be a lot of good moments with people coming out and surprises, but I think it's really going to get good, this women's match, right at the end.
Yeah,
because obviously every Royal Rumble it's kick, scream, punch in the corner. With women, not to be again, but sometimes there could be some sloppy spots with anything with the Rumble and stuff like this. But I think when it comes down to the final, who's your speaking of which, who's like your final 4 or 5?
I think
obviously Shayna,
Charlotte. They're definitely in the two.
I think that's my. I think that's your final 2. I think it's a good final 2.
Like, as far as the final 4, like, it could really be anybody's. So.
Maybe I'm gonna say maybe Sasha.
Yeah, maybe you throw Sasha on maybe Asuka or something like that. Hell, I wouldn't know Rhea Ripley. I could also see as well too. Like,
is Nia Jax ready to come back?
Supposedly not yet. She's coming off of 2 torn ACLs.
That's right. I wasn't sure how long she's out.
I would be very
Shayna, Charlotte.
Be very surprised if
Shayna, Charlotte, Sasha. They put Rhea in there because she's already a champion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, especially too, they don't have enough women, so she's gonna be in there.
Who else is
she's gonna be in there. She'll be in there. Tony Storm.
Tony Storm's gonna be in there. Io Shirai.
Kairi Sane. Like,
I can see how. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, I guess we're both picking Shayna.
Yeah. If
Charlotte, you know what? I'll join you. I'll join you in that rant.
Yeah.
And then quickly with the men.
This
more wide open, possibly.
Yeah. This to me is more wide open, and these are,
which is a good thing because it's not like, okay, we just know.
I tell you though, if they are really that stupid and have Roman win this thing.
Rowan? Did you say? Wait, who did you say?
If they're stupid and they have Roman.
Oh, I think you said Rowan.
No. Oh God.
That would have been. Oh my God, that would have been hilarious.
If they're really stupid and have Roman win this, oh my God.
What wouldn't you crap if Roman and Charlotte win?
Yeah. I mean, like, I wouldn't crap it as much as I would destroy the friggin' women's, but the men's, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, nothing against Roman himself, but we need something different.
We need something different, and if you're going for different, there are actually 3 guys who I would love to see win. Number 1, Keith Lee. Keith Lee is something new. He's fresh, and by God, he's a big, jacked black dude who they can make a superstar. And we know the WWE's track record outside of Kofi.
Yes,
that is. So he's number 1.
Let me guess, Drew McIntyre.
Yes, he's been.
He's the favorite.
At least on either Raw or SmackDown, has been the only guy who's been really built up well. He's won some matches, so like I could buy him.
He's being built up on Raw,
right?
Which makes me wonder that he's not. But I kind of want him to. It's time.
And the third guy is a little bit of a long shot, but Matt Riddle.
I think that's your long shot.
Yeah,
of the 3.
That is a dark horse long shot. I mean, like, obviously, like, Riddle has been wanting for years to have that match against Lesnar, and with like Heyman in control of creative on Raw, and with Brock on Raw, I wouldn't completely dismiss it, but but if I had to pick now, I'm probably leaning towards Drew McIntyre.
I want to say Drew because that's the only person I think. I even think Keith Lee is more of a long shot, but not as much as Riddle.
No.
With Keith Lee recently, I don't think so. I don't think it's time yet. I don't think they would do it.
But okay, but listen to this though. So Keith Lee, he won the North American title on
spoilers
on NXT this week. So who does he feud with? Exactly, like it's pretty.
There's somebody
it's pretty wide open right now. So they could easily because from their perspective, this was just to give him some steam going into that match. So I could easily see them stripping him of that title and him going on his way.
He loses without losing it.
Right. Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that. And to if you are Triple H, if you are Vince, it needs to be someone new. It needs to be someone fresh. You need to get new faces. Like, they need to not depend on guys like Seth and Roman and AJ and the same faces every single week. Like, they have gotten incredibly stale. Obviously, outside of like Seth, who's been doing really well as a heel right now.
Yeah, we haven't got the laugh yet. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I like the staple, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
Like you said, we got Kofi last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're gonna get Keith Lee.
Oh yeah, like I'm praying, and I definitely feel if he wins, he's gonna get a mega reaction.
I don't.
And
he would.
And to another thing,
I don't see because I think they're eventually going to get him to NXT.
But to think about this, he was put over really strong at Survivor Series.
It's true.
It's supposedly Vince is really high on him.
That is true.
So like those are two really important things right now. So
it's going his way. I don't disagree, but I'm just
yeah,
he's close, but I don't think could he make it to like the Final Four? Absolutely,
and like he should.
He should.
Like it just there is no reason why he shouldn't be. Like there's like a guy of like his size and the way that he freaking moves and the presence that Keith Lee has. Like there's just there is not too many people that they have on that roster, and he's black. Like he's black. like, can we please just? And I just broke my
You
head.
did. I like it.
Like
black as black.
He's black. Like I can't emphasize this. Like they just don't create superstars of African Americans. It's just like, and he's right there.
How dare you insult a New Day like that?
Well,
dare you, good sir.
I'm talking about strictly
Singles,
individually
I know.
speaking.
How dare you insult Kofi Kingston? Like, I'm kidding.
Don't even get me started on that. But
whoa, what happened there?
I just hated how they when
he lost it to Brock.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
When
that's
he
fair.
lost it and he essentially just gave off the vibe like he didn't care.
Okay. Fair point. I was like, "Where's this going?"
Yeah.
Another question, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you see Brock lasting?
I think he'll last for a good, decent amount of time.
Does he make it to the Final Four, or does he get out before that?
I think he gets out before that. Because if he was going to be at the very end, he would not be number one. I can guarantee you that. Unless
somebody eliminates him to win, and that maybe.
Yeah.
My worry here. I'm curious. Not really a worry. Who comes out number 2? And
it's Dio Madden.
I wouldn't be. That'd be hilarious if he does come out. But like, does that whoever that hit is either is going to be in there for not get immediately eliminated, or get immediately eliminated, right. And Brock is just sitting there. If like Leah Rush comes out, I don't know, just throwing the name out there, somebody small and just get picked out.
Aaron Corbin. Bury his ass. Bury his ass, Lesnar. Bury that freaking Burger King wannabe.
How dare you insult King Booker like that?
Hey. Lay off. Lay off. Like
he
my
had a
man
crown.
Booker.
He had a crown too.
He's a real king.
Did he?
He's a real king.
What about King Sheamus?
Huh? No, he's
King Regal?
A very respectful king.
But he didn't do anything. That was
he was respectful.
Anywho.
Moving on.
Let's review AEW and NXT. Full disclosure, I saw probably half NXT because my free time was limited today, and I didn't see Dynamite.
So per the usual, I'm going to have to carry this podcast again.
Whoa! No. Usually, no. Usually, I watch both. Then you come along and go, well, I have no desire to watch NXT. No! Don't you accuse me of not caring the show.
I watched both this week, so...
First time. So you know what? I can have a break and not watch one. Or 1.5. But before we get into it, let's get into the ratings. Let's get back on track here. AEW falls down slightly, 7.34% to 171,000 viewers with a .35, 18-49 demo. NXT is up 9.86% to 769,000, and the demo .24 in that key demographic. AEW 8th in viewership, NXT 35th.
Okay, before we get started on this, I have a little rant for Mr. Jim Cornette here.
Oh, I was curious what he was saying here.
Yeah, so
make fun of my friend Jim Cornette.
Yes, I'm not sure if you saw this, but like when AEW announced their TV extension with TNT.
This is where this is going.
Yeah, so like Cornette basically like shit on TNT, saying they like, why would they want this company? Like, this was the same company that had like Jim Herd or anything, yada yada. Hey Jim, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the show is getting 800 to 900,000 viewers a week. Their 18 to 49 is pretty strong, if I do recall. Like name 2 or 3 other shows on TNT that are doing consistent TV like that are live 52 weeks out of the year.
To be fair, it hasn't been. It's not going to be 52.
Okay, and 53, 51.
Did you add a week to the year?
Yep. It's a leap year. It's a leap year.
Technically, maybe 49 because it wasn't live this week and it wasn't live during Christmas.
Right.
But I digress.
But anyways,
that 53. I'm sorry, that was good. That was a good one.
Like,
continue with the rant.
And the thing with like Jim is like you can hate something, but like you would think that common sense would just like seep into his into his biased skull there. Like they do consistent viewership every week. Hell, I mean, like, it's not doing like your Raw and Smackdown numbers, but this is a brand new company that I continue to say is just starting. Like, and it was pretty clear from TNT's standpoint, this far exceeded their expectations. Like, supposedly, according to one report, that the expectations from TNT was like, if they do 500,000 viewers, they would be happy. They are essentially almost doubling that every week. So it just like, it's getting harder and harder to take that man seriously, and it just comes off more of just like his thing is to rag on AEW.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yep.
Can I say
Sure.
what he's saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't necessarily disagree with your point. I think his view is that it is only less than $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at other shows, that's your reason why they're not as that draw in more viewership than wrestling. Can I disagree or agree with that?
On that network, or
I think maybe in general on TV.
Oh no! I'm just talking strictly about TNT.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
but I think he's just talking about. I think he was bringing up the point of just TV in general.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other point? Cause you said it. Crap. I think, and I mean, everybody has their own different views on what type of wrestling they like.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's old school. He doesn't like. For example, I think from last week, it was the tag team, the Fatal 4-Way. Everything is just constant flip, blah, blah, blah.
Well, the funny thing is, though, NXT is essentially the same thing, and he consistently praises that, you know? I mean, like... I
think it's not as much.
I mean, like...
it happens.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, it happens.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but like it just like
I never said it doesn't happen.
No, he just seems to have more of a like vendetta, and like that has been proven because he hates Kenny, he hates
the Young Bucks,
he hates the Bucks, and like he hates a lot of Jelly Janela among
but
other
doesn't
people.
Everybody?
Huh?
But doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
But
myself included.
I mean, he comes from that old school. So like, he likes MJF. Mm-hmm. Everybody does because that's that old school. He likes Chris Jericho because he's good. He really likes Cody Rhodes because, like, to summarize what he's saying, that like he felt like he gets it. Everything he does, it's good. Everything makes sense.
Yep.
Like he tells good stories.
Yep.
Even his I think promo last week.
Yep.
It means he was saying you have inflections. You could tell a story. Even I said something. I could be wrong. That even something that out of context makes no sense. Mm-hmm. A phrase or whatever he used. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in that context again, thing, it was good. Mm-hmm. So I don't think maybe overall he's more negative, but there is things on that show that stay true.
Likes. Oh yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that, but like it just like it's just like too. His problem is like if say like one thing is like really bad on the show, he'll like group it in and just say, and like he'll just say that the whole show is just trash, like, and like he's definitely has kind of proven that, but you know, I just think like he lets his hatred like just get in the way of common business sense here, you know.
I think he believes that. Not saying NXT doesn't do the stuff AEW does.
No,
not by. That's what I'm saying. But I think
they're two clearly different shows.
And he's criticized stuff back, but I think for him, and again, this is all personal taste.
Oh yeah.
Like if I guess he watches this because people like what he has to say, and he gets the thing.
If you like more old school stuff, AEW is not for you. Like they're just, it's not going to be.
There's some stuff, but it's not.
Like outside of the Cody and Jericho stuff, like you're not gonna be really in love with what they're doing.
It's taste, and he's criticizing. To me, I'm just like, if you want to criticize, I say let him. He has the right to criticize.
Yeah, absolutely does.
And whatever. There's some stuff I listen to him. I like listening to. There's stuff I agree with him on that I sit there. I'm like that. To me, it makes sense. Other stuff I don't, and it's okay. I listen to him. I reflect on what I even like to watch more.
Right.
And the high flying flippy stuff, I appreciate it, but at the same time, I also appreciate in terms of like tag team. That's a tag team. And then I watch something like
and the thing is
NXT
too,
this week.
Yeah.
What was the match? It was the
Riddle,
Undisputed. No, it was the Undisputed Era versus Grizzled
young veterans match.
To me, that was an old school, good, classic tag team match, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I appreciate that. Because I felt like that almost is a lost art, even on the main roster of WWE. It's not as high thing. I appreciate this, but I also can appreciate the other stuff, the high flying stuff that Cornette is criticizing. Let's say the tag team stuff on AEW. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
Would I like to prefer more old school tag team? Yes, but I'm not going to completely crap on AEW.
Well, and too, like AEW knows their audience. Like that's like I think that's going to be hard to work. Although I think if like Dash and Dawson showed up, though, they will for sure work in AEW. And like it's fine to have people with like different styles, but at the same time they need to know who their audience is too at the same time. But all right, we're gonna get into
we got way off topic.
So
really off topic.
So the show kicked off with the tag titles here, Matt. It was SCU versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page.
Yeah, carry me through this, John.
Yeah, I'm carrying you through this. And unlike past matches, Matt, there was like not too many flips and stuff here. This was a pretty.
I can see that with this match.
This was a much more old school match. It was pretty slow at the start and eventually picked up. And this went about 20 minutes. I'm not really surprised with the result here. I felt like that with SCU, like they hadn't really done anything with the tag titles.
No, not a damn thing.
Yeah, and like they just like it was time for them to finally lose those tag titles, and we're getting more and more progression with Hangman. He's getting more and more irritated with Kenny and the Elite and everything, and when that time comes and he finally snaps, is going to be glorious.
What did I say when you texted me? Goes progression. Goes, did he drunk text somebody now?
Yeah, and I said no.
That's not the progression I wanted.
No. But so yeah, Hangman and Kenny are your tag team champions. And it was pretty cool. After they win, freaking Hangman it is like crowd surfing all the way up to back at the near the Titantron. So that was pretty cool. And they and with the Bucks they tried waving him over to come in and celebrate with them, but no, yeah. So like Kenny or Hangman is continuing to play that role of distancing himself from the Elite and everything. So that's going pretty well there. Something that's not going pretty well at all. Brick. She has been a goddamn brick. Britt Baker trying to wrestle or cut a promo whatsoever. Good Lord, this was horrible. I've been trying to be patient with this woman for a very long time. Like, and I'm officially off of the Britt Baker bandwagon for the time being. This match was just really sloppy. There was too many instances where with Britt, she was in the wrong spot, or her trying to do a sling blade was rough. And then after she beats Priscilla Kelly, who definitely AEW should think about signing. I really liked her when she participated in the NXT Mae Young Classic, and she's also married to current AEW wrestler Darby Allin. So I wouldn't mind seeing her again. But Britt gets on the mic with Antonio Schiavone's interviewing her, basically questioning her tactics and how she won. So basically this was her turning heel, and this was so awkward. This was so, like, she just looked like she was lost or she got flustered or whatever, but she has like one of the worst mic skills I have ever seen. Like, she cut a joke about Tony, about this being Tony's about this being his saving grace, and it's better than his old job at Starbucks as a barista. I'm like, what's going on here? So it was just bad. And after this,
She said that's to Schiavone?
yes, I'm like, what? So I'm like, needless to say, I turned heel on Twitter on Wednesday night when I was watching this. I'm like, she's terrible. This division freaking sucks. I hate everything about her right now. So, Matt, as I texted you, she sucks. The end.
I'm not sure. You don't like her?
What gave it away?
I don't know. I'm just going out on a limb there.
Okay.
So what's next here? Jurassic Express versus Inner Circle, you say?
Yeah. And the funniest thing, Chris Jericho is coming out for his entrance, and the crowd is singing his theme song, and it's one of the most awesome things. Like all you see is Chris is smirking and just soaking it all in and everything.
Soak it in, man.
Oh, and by the way, Matt,
Wrong gimmick.
The freaking visual on that ship was a really cool thing. I like when different companies are going to different destinations. It makes the show stand out. So I'm a bit of a like a mark for that, like how WCW used to do that in like different places and all. But on to the M6 man. This was a pretty good match. This I would say was by far the most that we have seen of Luchasaurus. He got in a lot of time here. He eventually ended up brawling with Jake Hager in the back. This eventually got the freaking showdown between Marco Stunt and Chris Jericho, and Chris gave him the most devastating Judas effect I had ever seen. And Marco looked like he got like I'm killed after he took that finish there.
He better look like he's getting killed.
Yeah, so like he wins in a very fun and a very fun match here. Then we go on to MJF versus Jelly Janela. Yes, I said Jelly because he sucks. So
Okay.
So basically, this was a match between Jim Cornette's favorite wrestler versus Jim Cornette's most hated wrestler.
Yes, I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this.
Just freaking MJF, man, how he just oversells things just cracks me up. Like, at like one point, basically, MJF takes a like back bump back into the ring, and like he really oversells it old school like Matt. Do you know how Raw how like Flair and
Yes.
all of them would just oversell that. Well, that's essentially what happened here. So this match ends when Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian show up, and they distract Jelly, and by making out and whatever. And this,
oh, look at me caring.
yeah, and this leads to MJF doing one of the most ugliest crossroads I have ever seen in my entire life, and he gets the win.
That's the point.
He then gets on the mic, talks some on Cody, and whatnot. Basically, he's saying he was responding to his promo from last week where he said that about the chapter thing, and basically said Cody, I am a chapter in your book, your last chapter. So then Cody eventually comes down, which MJF was a complete the whole entire time. After he finished talking, he dropped the freaking mic. Cody tries to pick it up, and then he kicks it away like a and then Cody gets on the mic, said he says Max, yes, I know I can't touch you, but they can, and they being the Young Bucks who super kick him, and then they drag him and throw him in the freaking pole, and I marked out there. That was and the funny thing was MJF was selling like he couldn't swim, so it was that much more hilarious. So yeah, that was good. And then we go to the main event for the number one contendership to face Chris Jericho for.
I wonder who's going to win this.
To win his title between Jon Moxley and Pac.
I'm in suspense, John.
Well, funny thing about this was during the match, well, they were docked in the Bahamas, and the fans were like yelling at some other boat, and they were chanting, "Fuck your boat, fuck your boat, our boat's better." And like OGC, it just like everyone was just completely just distracting, just doing that. So I had a pretty good laugh there, but yeah, the match itself, it was okay, nothing special. John was really selling his eye injury from the angle with Jericho last week. Obviously, John he wins here in a pretty tightly competed match here. So it's now official, Matt. We will be having Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley at Revolution, to the surprise of nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, a solid show. Yeah. So nothing really to other. So now Matt,
I can start NXT to a certain point, because
Yep.
So we open up with the Dusty Rhodes Classic between the Undisputed Era and the grizzled young veterans.
Yay.
Again, I talked about this earlier. It was almost like an old school tag team bout. And then at one point, the Imperium music played, and members of Imperium appeared standing above the announce table area.
Which this kind of annoyed me because it made the Undisputed Era look like idiots. I felt like, why is the whole group like going to the opposite side when they haven't even moved or anything? I felt they look kind of stupid, but
whatever.
Yeah.
Which distraction enough, and grizzled young veterans pick up what you can consider a surprise win.
Yep.
And they qualified to the finals of Dusty Rhodes Classic, which now this continues the feud between Undisputed Era and Imperium. So I'm okay with it
for the Worlds Collide show, which will be
this evening.
Tonight when this podcast drops.
So I'm okay with other tag teams winning it, and the Speed Arrow has all the championships, so they really need this. We move on to, which I thought was a good video package about Shotzi Blackheart talking about
like
tossing Shayna.
Yeah. It was pretty clear on the show, like they have big plans for her, and I think it's also because they're preparing for some of their current women to be essentially emoted to either Raw or SmackDown. So
how about this video package? Promo building a woman up. AEW.
What's that?
What? AEW?
No. Building a woman.
I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. So that was good. Then we go to Tony Storm versus Io Shirai.
Holy hell, Tony Storm and Io Shirai are freaking hot.
There you go. Again, a good match. What is that? What is a good women's match?
I know.
AEW. Between the two, Nans and DQ after Bianca Belair comes out to attack Tony Storm, which causes, I believe, Rhea Ripley came up, and they fight. And this is where I start to, I dozed off because after school and I slept, and then I had to wake up and do thump.
All right, I guess I'll take over here. All right, so
don't give me that.
So this eventually next we have a match between Finn Balor versus Joaquin Wilde, who this man had a very interesting entrance attire, to say the least, but Finn he wins pretty easily. Match might have lasted 2 or 3 minutes at the very most. So Finn is facing, I forget his name exactly, but he's a wrestler over on the NXT UK brand, and it was also announced, I believe, a week or 2 ago that he's going to be facing Johnny Gargano at NXT TakeOver Portland. So all right, so then we have a Shayna Baszler interview hyping up her match against Shotzi, which eventually leads to Shotzi with Shotzi Blackheart versus Shayna Baszler. Yeah, basically this match was just Shayna beating the ever living crap out of Shotzi. Shotzi, she got like 1 or 2 good spots here, but basically Shayna just hit the crap out of her, and she wins via submission, which I would think she's going to be the 2020 winner of the Royal Rumble, hopefully. So a decent match there. We then get a interview with Angel Garza hyping up.
I really like him.
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of presence, definitely has a lot of charisma, and also he's being a really damn good wrestler. But he was hyping up his fatal 4-way match for Worlds Collide, which I believe it's him, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Travis Banks, and I believe Jordan Devlin, if memory serves correctly. So then we get the other semifinal match, the Cruiserweights versus Imperium, Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner. This was a really good match.
I expect nothing less when I finally watch it.
Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle are absolute gold as a tag team. Just everything flowed so nicely. Just like
It's the funny thing because they're opposites.
yeah, like they really are. But man, like it was just a really fun match. It probably went about like 15 minutes.
Was this clean?
Yeah, this was 100% clean and shocking. No sort of interference at all, which kind of shocked me since they had Imperium down there. So yeah, yeah.
Undisputed Era didn't even make an appearance. I'm shocked.
No, they do later, but so then we get a stare down and a little mini segment between the Roserweights and the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson. So basically, Zach Gibson, he gets on the mic. He basically calls Pete Dunne selfish, and that they are going, and that they are known for their submissions, for their joint manipulation. And then like the freaking Riddle gets on the microphone. He was like, "Hey bro, I lost all train of thought after you look, said joint." which that had me dying when I saw it. So
you can't see me, but I'm just having my head on my head, kind of with a
he was
smile.
like, "Hey bro, after you said joint, my head was just in the clouds at that point." so like
That's funny.
Like
that
that was
funny.
pretty funny. So their finals match will be on like next week's edition of NXT, which I'm predicting it's definitely is going to be Riddle and Pete Dunne. And I think Matt, we're going to see eventually new tag team champions here. I'm really loving Riddle and Pete Dunne as a tag team right now. Absolutely. So yep, that was really good and probably my favorite thing on the show tonight. Then we get to the main event, Matt, for the North American Championship between Roderick Strong versus Keith Bask in his glory Lee. Very good match. Back and forth. This one about, I would say 15, maybe 20 minutes. I could be wrong about that, but we did get a new North American champion. Not really a surprise whatsoever. Like
it would have been a travesty if he didn't.
Yeah, like there would have had to have been a lot of shenanigans here to have Keith Lee not win. But I did feel like it was kind of overshadowed with the appearance of like Imperium because they just quickly cut out of him winning, and there was a brawl between the Undisputed Era and Imperium setting up their match. Four worlds collide tonight. So yeah, a very solid episode of NXT. Definitely go out of your way to see Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle versus Imperium. A very, very good match here. So yeah, we already talked about the ratings. So Matt, I think it's finally time to get to the funny moment of the week.
So, as you may know, there was colder weather was moving through and got all the way down to Florida. Now, if it gets into the 30s, whatever, it's unusual, and it's unusual for iguanas down there.
Oh God.
So what happens when it gets to a certain temperature? They freeze. And they kind of go in this hibernated state. So they kind of stop moving. Well, there was a falling iguana warning recently in Florida of iguanas falling out of. Is this actually from 2018? Okay, this might have been from 2 years ago apparently, but it goes to what happened now. So they freeze up, they hibernate, and they lose their grip, and they fall out off the trees and hit the ground. Now, apparently this story was from 2018. I thought it was now. But it's still funny that somebody that used to live from Central America now in Florida had a surprise. So this is from one website from NPR. So apparently in Central America, I didn't know iguana is a delicacy. So this one gentleman saw these iguanas back on the ground and just got excited. Look at all the iguanas. Takes them to his car, thinking they're dead.
I'm guessing that it probably wasn't dead.
Wasn't dead because they're just in a hibernated state. They're kind of gray and they weren't even moving. But so he puts them in this car, and then driving the vehicle actually warms up. They come back to life, and they start running around in the car, and it caused him to be in an accident. Only in
Florida people.
Only in Florida.
Yeah. Wow, this was a really long podcast, man.
We just passed 2-hour mark.
Yeah, I think this might be our longest one, or our second longest one.
I think it's up there. It might be the longest one.
Yeah.
So anywho, let's not keep you any longer.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, guys, as we said, make sure that you tune in for our Royal Rumble reaction show that will go on the air once the Royal Rumble concludes. Hopefully, it's not super late, but who knows? But Matt, take us home.
Yes. So, like always, you know what to do. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and when you subscribe, when are you gonna know when a new video comes out? Hit that bell. Or now, you can follow us at Twitter at MJ Make a Podcast, and we'll have all the new links of the new episodes there and any updates there as well. So with that, this was episode 25 of Man and John Make a Podcast. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.